Good evening, everybody. Good evening to our friends on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you for joining us. So in this week's Parsha, we have a story that's been repeated time and time and time again. And that was the viceroy of Egypt was Joseph. He was second in command. He was the man in charge of all of the economy. He was in charge of all of the extra stock of food, all the reserves, federal reserves of Egypt. And he was a bigwig. But in this week's Parsha, we find that there was a new king who got up. There was a new king who came to power. And that king did not know Joseph. Never heard of him. Don't know who that guy is. Joseph? What? Right? You see, the problem is that in every generation we think, as Jewish people, we always climb to power. The smallest of the nations, the most powerful of the nations. We always climb to power. That's in our DNA. You look at the U.S. government today, you look at other governments across the globe. Jews are always in top positions, whether they're the advisors. You look at the Federal Reserve, the past, I think, 10 heads of the Federal Reserve are all Jews. Right? The Jews always climb to power. And the question is, does that help us anything? Because we get convinced that, well, if we have positions of power, we'll be able to influence. We will be able to get the governments to like us. We will get the governments to change their ways, to change their path, to suddenly love the Jewish people. Because, don't forget, I'm Jewish. I remember when President Obama became president, David Axelrod, his top advisor, was interviewed by a Jewish actually a Jewish friend of mine. I think it was a private conversation that he had. It was someone who worked in the Bush White House and now was just meeting with him in the White House. And he said to him, he said, what do you think? You think he's going to do something bad to the Jews? Look at his two top advisors, Rahm Emanuel and me. We're both Jews, both office on both sides of the Oval Office. And you think he's going to do something against the Jews? He says, come on, we've got this under control. The problem is that every generation thought that. In Germany, they thought that as well. In every other situation that the Jewish people had, there was a terrible catastrophe that happened to the Jews. It was always when they had high positions of power in government. And they said, you know what? We're so strong, we're so powerful, no one can stop us, no one can overcome us because we have control. Vayakam melech hadash asher lo yada et Yosef. And there was a new king that came to power who didn't know who Joseph was. Right? Sorry, who are you? Either he made believe that he didn't know who Joseph was, or he really didn't know who Joseph was. So I want to tell you, so what's the idea? What's the message here? So I want to share with you something that my brother shared with me yesterday in the name of my grandfather, who said it in the name of his rabbi. Okay? And it's the following idea. What is true emunah? What is true faith in God? So Rav Yerucham, my grandfather's rabbi, was once in the third or fourth floor of a building. And then when he was leaving the building, it was nighttime. And in the stairwell of the building, there was no light. So what did he have to hold on to? Just the handrail. That's it he had. So there it's pitch black. You can't see a thing. And the only thing you have is to hold on to the handrail. He said, that's true emunah. Emunah means when it's dark, when you can't see, when you don't know what the results are going to bring. You don't know what the governments are going to say, what they're going to rule, what they're going to legislate. You have a guard rail. that you can hold on to. Because you knew that it was there when it was light. And that guardrail is God. If you can hold on to that guardrail, right, when the times are dark, that is faith. Because you know God was there in the times of light. So you know God is there in the times of dark. When we have power, we say, oh, God is great. Look at the Jewish people. Look how great we are. Look, the son-in-law of the president-elect is an Orthodox Jew. What can go wrong? Right? And we hope that nothing goes wrong. We hope each and every one, whether we voted for the president-elect, or if we did not vote, we all hope that good things will result for the Jewish people. But the number one place we need to turn to is not to any president, but it's rather to that handrail, which is God, who we know is always there, always was there, and hopefully we know and we live with the belief and trust that God will always be there. Hashem should bless us all, that we should take this lesson to heart. And we should not put too much faith in our government. We should not put too much faith in other people. But we should put all of our faith and all of our trust in the God who we know is God, who was God, and who will be God forever and ever. Amen. Amen. And all of you on Facebook, you're welcome to join us at our class on Tuesday nights at the Torch Center, the magnificent Torch Center, at 7 o'clock on Tuesday nights, every single Tuesday night. And of course, on Wednesday, and on Thursday, and on Friday, and on Sunday again, and Monday, every day, classes here. Visit torchweb.org for our full listing of programs. Thank you for joining us, and have a good evening.